Good afternoon, everyone in UK and Europe. Good morning to those guys out in the US. Thank you very much for taking the time to come to our Around the Kitchen Table discussion with Global Distribution. Today, we are going to be talking about building high-performance media networks with some of Global Distribution's key partners, ATTO Technology, Tiger Technology and Infortrend. ATTO, particularly long-time partner of Global Distribution, probably 20 years. Tiger Technology, maybe not quite that long, but certainly over 10. And Infortrend, I think, sort of 5 or something there. All key vendors for us. So without too much further ado, let me introduce the team that's going to be presenting today. For those of you that don't know me, hi, I'm Nick from Global Distribution. I'm a director here. Joining us also is both Tom and Megan from ATTO, both product managers. So Tom, do you want to say hello, a few things about yourself?
Hi, I'm Tom Johnson. I'm the product manager for our fast frame Ethernet adapters and our brand new ATTO 360 software that I'll be giving a live demo today. I've been with ATTO about 6 years, in the IT industry for about 20 years now, so I'm happy to be here.
Great. And Megan?
Hi, Megan Zemansky. I'm another product manager at ATTO. I manage our Thunderbolt adapters, our Celerity fiber channel adapters, and our Express SAS adapters. I also have been at ATTO about 6 years, and I'm excited to be here.
Great, thanks. And Paul?
Yeah, hi, I'm Paul Reed from Tiger Technology. I'm sales director for the European region. I've only been with the company a relatively short time, but I had the pleasure of working with Global for many, many years in different guises. So thank you very much.
Great. Okay, thanks, guys. So what are we going to be talking about today? So we're going to be talking about building high-performance media workflows. So let's take a look at some of the problems that exist in doing this. So firstly, many of the customers are looking for performant, easy to configure, easy to scale storage. Easy to manage is an important factor with constraints on budget for sysadmins. Easy to scale because customers don't know, where they might be in a year, 2 or 5 years time. They might have a couple of 100 terabytes now. They might only double that in a couple of years. Or 5 years. They could triple, quadruple that easily, and be running into the petabyte range before they know it. So that's one major factor, along with budget. That's particularly important in the current climate. Secondly, although in recent years we've seen a big move from SAN to NAS for compressed media file workflows, largely driven by Apple ProRes and AVID and XHD. It is important to realize that deploying NAS systems and Ethernet systems, they do require quite a lot of tweaking in terms of setting up the network and the drivers and the configurations on the adapter card setting to make sure that kind of runs smoothly, and that's where some of the solutions that ATTO have can come in. And then thirdly, how to manage users and projects across one NAS or multiple NASs, how to support mixed edit environments. So you might have Adobe and Resolve and Avid Media Composer. It's how to run Avid Media Composer on a shared storage system that's not Avid branded. And then when you've got all the data, what do you do with it? How do you tear it off to a tape system or to disk or to cloud for archive or disaster recovery? So this combination of Infortrend scale-out-NAS, ATTO Thunderbolt and host bus adapters with their 360 software, and then Tiger with their spaces, Avid FS module and bridge, we'll show you in this presentation how those different pieces come together to help solve your customers' requirements. So let's just have a quick look here at the system on the diagram. We've got the Infortrend CS Series on the left-hand side of the diagram. That's the scale-out product. So that can start with 3 nodes and scale up to 144 nodes. You've then got the Ethernet switching infrastructure, which can be 10 gig, 25 or 40 gig, for example. We've got a mixture of Apple Windows workstations or laptops, which we're installing at either ATTO Thunderlinks or ATTO fast frame Ethernet adapters, configured by that ATTO 360 software. And then we have Tiger Spaces, which can sit across the CS Series NAS, provide user management, provide project management. Their AVID FS module can make it look like an AVID storage system, so you can use Media Composer. And then you have Tiger Bridge, which will allow to move data from that NAS, to another set of disks, to a tape library, or even up into the cloud. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through these vendors one by one, and we're going to start with Infortrend. For those of you that maybe not familiar with Infortrend, they have a 25-year history of providing fiber channel and block storage devices, as well as NAS. They are very well established in the market. Many of you, I'm sure, will know them. They have a very good reputation for protecting your kind of ones and zeros. Their RAID engine, their RAID stack is very well regarded in the market. And so moving from that block storage, they've been shipping NAS product for quite a while, unified NAS product in their GS series, which obviously supports both fiber channel block or iSCSI and NAS. And now what we're going to talk about is the kind of accumulation of that. Moving on would be their clustered scale-out NAS platform. So let's have a look at what they call the CS series. So what is the E.ON CS? So it's a scale-out NAS system. Very much if you're not familiar with the concept, you might be familiar with some other brands in the market. So Dell, Isilon, or Cumulo, for example, they're all examples of scale-out NAS systems. So the Infortrend will scale out nodes horizontally, as you expect from a clustered scale-out NAS system. But it also scales out vertically. Scales out vertically as well. So to each of the nodes in a cluster, and a node is just a posh term for a chassis, which includes a motherboard, OS drives, and I/O. So that's a node. So as well as being able to expand these nodes horizontally, you can also do it vertically. So you can also add expansion systems to these nodes to grow capacity without having to expand the number of nodes in the cluster. And that's quite helpful if you're working in environments that are not necessarily performance driven, but you need a higher capacity. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next few slides. So going over the solution highlights, obviously, as you'd expect from a modern cluster NAS, it's very high performance and high capacity. We're focusing on this presentation around media and entertainment. It's very capable of editing 4K video for edit and playback. Complete scalability, covering a wide range of media workflows or workflows in general. And again, some of that flexibility comes from its ability to scale in different ways in terms of just capacity and or performance, which is a bit unique in this space. As you might expect in the media market, they have integration with Adobe and other leading NLEs such as DaVinci Resolve. And in fact, DaVinci Resolve goes a little bit further, that the E.ON store, the CS series, can actually have the DaVinci Project Serve software actually installed on the cluster. So you don't need to have any additional hardware in order to run that DaVinci Server product. Easy management via their E.ON One and E.ON View software packages. Briefly, E.ON One is the administration package, which allows an administrator to stand up the cluster, create the cluster, assign capacities, quotas, and users, and the such. And then E.ON View is the client app for Mac and Windows that will allow you to easily, for an editor or user, to easily connect to the cluster. It sort of self-discovers, and the user would see the storage that they've been given access to. So it's a nice tool. Flexible I/O connections. The Infortrend is available with 10 gig, 25 gig, and 40 gig Ethernet connections. And those that be familiar with the Infortrend product in general will know that they have a system of host boards. So those host boards can be swapped out. So let's say you started with 10 gigabit today, and in a couple of years you wanted to move to 25 gig or 40 gig or 100 gig. It's simply a case of changing out the board on the hardware to give you that upgraded connectivity. And it goes without saying, in a clustered NAS environment, you have high availability. So depending on the erasure code setting you implement when you build the cluster, you can tolerate one or more node failures. Also worth mentioning that Infortrend also do RAID protection per node, so you have a dual aspect of protection. You have RAID hardware protection per node, and then across the cluster you also take the advantage of erasure coding. So to have a look, where can we go? We can go to 100 petabytes plus of storage. We can go to 100 plus gigabytes of read and write performance, and that's achieved across up to 144 nodes per cluster. As I said earlier, Eon One is the storage management software that allows you to easily configure and run the nodes from one easy interface. Allows users to easily select and provide certain steps. It also reports on all the storage conditions at any one time. And if you are running DaVinci Project Serve, then the notifications for DaVinci Project Server can also be tied into Eon One. So there's a central alert system for both the storage, and if you're running the DaVinci Project Serve, that would also be present. So now we just have a very quick look through the Eon One dashboard interface. So I'm just going to play a quick video that will go through that.
Scale-out-NAS. In this video, we'll have a quick walkthrough for Eon One and introduce its basic features. Eon One is an embedded cluster management suite that allows you to enter the login page by opening your browser with the management IP address. To sign in to Eon One, enter the username and password field and press the login button. Once you have signed into Eon One, you'll see a graphical design storage monitor dashboard with 4 main sections, including the general, capacity, summary, and event log. In the general section, you can check the system status with management IP address and firmware version. In the capacity section, you can monitor the current storage usage of the cluster, including the used space, free space, and unallocated space. Eon One also provides quick links to common configuration pages in the summary section, where you can easily manage nodes, disk pools, shared folders, and file manager. The last part is the event log, where CS displays all system events with different severity. You can also filter events by clicking on a drop-down list to identify system errors with just a few clicks. Eon One is a centralized cluster management suite that lets you manage multiple nodes at the same time. On the Nodes page, you can check the status of each node, including network connectivity, disk type, and storage usage. You can also add or remove nodes from the page. In summary, Eon One is an easy-to-use cluster management suite that monitors and manages all nodes in the cluster with just a few clicks. Want to know more about us? Follow us on our website, www.infortrend.com, go onto our LinkedIn page, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.
Brilliant. Well, I hope that short video gave you a flavour of how easy the CS is to use and configure. As I said, it's high performance, high scalability, and target applications obviously include media, entertainment, broadcast, etc. but other big data verticals as well that you might be involved in, life sciences, healthcare, oil and gas. Infortrend have kind of example deployments across these various different verticals. So what I forgot to say at the start of the chat, just coming back to the guys, is that at the bottom of your screens or underneath the presenter views that you're seeing now, there should be a chat box. So we are doing Q&A at the end of this presentation, so on all the topics. So if you look beneath your screens here, there should be a chat box. So please feel free to type in questions and we'll do our best to get through them at the end of the presentation. So what I'm going to do now is hand over to Tom from ATTO. He's going to talk a little bit about ATTO 360 as well as give you a live demo of that. So Tom, over to you.
Thanks, Nick. Get back into my slides here. So if anyone here is not familiar with ATTO, we've been in business for over 30 years now, making high performance network and storage connectivity products. We always focus on limiting latency and increasing throughput. I am the product manager for our fast frame adapters, but we also make, besides Ethernet, we make SAS, fiber channel, Thunderlink, which Megan's going to tell you a little bit about later. For the fast frame, our NICs, we have 3 generations of those products now. We go all the way up to 100 gigabit Ethernet. We are known for our extensive driver support, so we always have a Mac driver, Windows, Linux. We have some smaller OSs that we cover too, like FreeBSD and Illumos. We have the best in class when it comes to power consumption. Something else that's a little unique to what we do is we include optics with all of our products. You have the option of buying them without, but we do offer extended support in the way of consulting with you on what type of optics that you're going to need, and really help you out with your architecting your network when it comes to using transceivers. We also are on the forefront of advanced technologies. Right now it's NVMe over fabrics. We're one of the first companies to support Rocky RDMA as well. Now our major differentiator with FastFrame is our ATTO 360 software. And I am going to jump into a live demo. All right, so this is the first screen that you see when you open up our application. It's the System Information tab. You'll get information about the operating system, TCP settings, and the idea here is we've collected information from several different areas and put it in one simple, easy to use interface for you. Our experts at ATTO have picked what they think is the best, most vital information to show the user to get the most out of the fast frame adapter and the best connection to storage for your client. If I drop down into our NIC information tab, here's where you'll get the same type of information for our NIC and our driver. And again, this is all data that's been collected from several different areas. And we do have these linked to our diagnostics, which I'll get into later. But what you see here down in the corner is if some of this information that we're monitoring looks like it would cause a dip in performance or any type of negative impact, you'll actually get a warning, and it works like a check engine light would in your vehicle. It'll only be highlighted if 360 sees something that it doesn't like. The next tab here, NIC statistics. Here you're actually getting a view at what's packets going across the wire. So there's several different data points. Total packets sent and received. There's even error counters here that we're keeping track of. The regular user doesn't have to do anything with this information. You can absolutely use it to help familiarize yourself with what's going across the wire. Or you can do nothing with it and let 360 do its job and know that if there's something on here that doesn't look right, you'll get a message from us and instant advice from ATTO engineers. Here is the tuning profile section. So right here, you're getting a look into some of the presets that we've created here. So we have high throughput, which is for the user that just wants to get the most megabytes per second. Low latency, this is for the user that wants to reduce packet loss over just straight high throughput. And when you hit apply, there's actually several things going on in the background. We're making syscontrol changes. We're doing lots of different things to optimize. But from the user's perspective, it's you just hit one button and you go to work. And I apologize, it's a little bit of a delay. I'm remoting into a machine at our office in Buffalo. So the last thing I want to show you is our diagnostics section, and that's just it'll be lit up red here, and only if it's seeing something that that we don't like. And I am just going to get out of there. Sorry about that. So I like to call it a Swiss Army knife for Ethernet network optimization. So there's three key areas. I showed you the tuning, and that's where we integrate the one-click setup for typical workflows. We have profiles for high throughput, low latency. We have a release coming up next month in June, which will cover even more profiles, and we'll be looking to add more as we go. We'll be coming out with a new release every quarter. On the analytics side, that's the diagnostics section where you're going to get instant advice on how ATTO can improve performance. We're looking for really frequent errors to the type of errors that you don't typically look for. If you're plugged into the wrong PCI slot, for instance, ATTO 360 will let you know. On the monitoring side, you saw all of the information that we've collected from all those different areas and put them into one simple, easy to use interface. So that for benefits wise, I mean, you're not looking just for end users. 360 is about saving time so you can get back to work on your projects faster and not having to be an expert and sift through 350 syscontrol settings. The ATTO engineers have picked the right ones for you. On resellers, it's about bringing down your support costs and bringing up your ROI, increasing your customer satisfaction. You become the go-to resource because of the tools that you provide for them. And for OEMs, it's really about eliminating those really low-level one support calls and getting customized workflows. And now I'm going to hand it over to Megan.
Thanks, Tom. So we have not only our fast frame network interface cards that support ATTO 360, but also our Thunderlink Thunderbolt adapters. So these are going to provide 25 gig and 10 gig connectivity for Thunderbolt 3 and also support ATTO 360. And with all of our Thunderbolt products, we really have four key areas that we focus on. It's our high performance, it's interoperability, which means that we're doing continuous testing with different operating systems, different storage systems, switches, software applications to make sure that when a user gets our product, that odds are we've tested a product that it's going to be working with, whether it's the storage in the workflow or the application. We do a lot of work on our design, thinking about particularly customers that may be doing content creation or in media and entertainment. So making sure that it's low profile and whisper quiet. And then also support, which is really important, and now includes things like ATTO 360. If we just look at overall how ATTO designs professional workflows, we have over 20 years as an Apple developer, meaning that we really understand the intricacies of Mac OS and how to develop for it and how to be prepared for the next operating system that comes out and be there if any technical issues come up. On the Thunderbolt side, we're an original Thunderbolt developer. So we're now looking at almost 10 years of working on Thunderbolt technology and being able to combine both our knowledge of fiber channel, Ethernet and SAS with our knowledge of Thunderbolt as well to bring a product that is able to hit those high performance, low latency requirements that end users do need. We do have that full suite of products. So we have Fiber Channel, we have SAS, and we have Ethernet for our PCIe cards. And we're really excited about the new Mac Pro, which was announced last year, which has PCIe slots and Thunderbolt ports. So for our PCIe cards, it's now going to be able to create the way to get the most performance out of the new Mac platform. And actually, what was even more exciting is that last year when the Mac Pro was announced at Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference, there was ATTO cards that were featured on screen. So Apple pointed out some of the particular protocols that ATTO works in, and then our PCIe cards were also featured on screen. So we're really excited going forward about what the Mac Pro means for pro users and how ATTO has all of the different components that are going to be able to help you get the most out of your system and the most out of your workflow so that users can spend more time creating content and less time worrying about performance hangups or any other troubleshooting that you may have seen on other systems. So just looking as a whole at ATTO, we're going to be able to cover all of your protocol needs, whether it's fiber, SAS, Ethernet, or you need Thunderbolt connectivity for those hosts that don't have PCIe internal connectivity. And if we're looking forward, if you're somebody that's looking at Ethernet, we're continuing to build out our special tools, which include ATTO 360, so that really we're trying to take the guesswork out of building out your workflow and making it easier for end users and allowing them to get the most out of the workflows that they're building out.
Great, thank you so much, Tom and Megan. I think that shows how 360 and ATTO adapters can be used to get the best out of the Infortrend CS Series scale-out-NAS. So that's really good. Just a reminder again, we've had a few questions in, but you should have should see that chat box at the bottom of your screen. So do feel free to send us some questions in, and we will get back to you at the end of the session for some Q&A. So while we've learned on looked at the scale-out NAS part of it, we've seen how ATTO and 360 can help you tune your performance up. It's now time to hand over to Paul from Tiger to talk a little bit more about their software and their kind of advanced features for sort of project management and data tiering that can bring to the table. So Paul, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Nick. So Tiger Technology has been supplying software for media workflows for over 15 years. And our core design philosophy is to provide non-proprietary solutions that allow customers to use their own preferred storage in their deployments. And as such, we've had a really good long-standing partnership with Infortrend and ATTO, allowing customers to build high-performance, scale-out storage solutions for media workflows. So, apologies, I'm just getting used to the controls. So let me give you a one-slide overview of the Tiger products, and then we're going to move to a short video demonstration of how you can deploy Tiger software to manage media, storage, projects, and data. So Tiger Store and Tiger Pool are our storage management software solutions. Tiger Store enables you to create a shared storage environment for your Windows, Mac, and Linux clients, and you can build that across NAS or NAS and SAN storage. Tiger Store uses a non-proprietary file system, so there's no vendor lock-in for your data. It can be delivered as software only or appliance-based. And we have an optional support, as Nick mentioned, for the AVID file system. So it includes complete AVID bin locking for AVID workflows. If you need to add storage at a later date, you can use our Tiger Pool software to combine storage into a single namespace. Tiger Spaces is our project management solution. Now, this allows users to create virtual workspaces across any of the connected storage. So you can create a project workspace, you can allocate storage to it, and you can allocate users to it. And only those people that have permissions will see the workspace and the content. Now again, Tiger Spaces has optional support for the AVID file system, and Tiger Spaces will work alongside Tiger Store or standalone with any NAS storage. Lastly, Tiger Bridge is our data management solution. This gives you policy-based data management, allowing users to copy or move data to any NAS, cloud, or tape target device. Bridge is fully integrated into the file system, and therefore it's transparent to any users or applications. The data under Tiger Bridge always appears local, even if it's been physically moved to a target. Now again, Tiger Bridge will work with Tiger Store, Tiger Spaces, or in fact stand alone on any Windows platform. So let's take a brief look at how Tiger Spaces and Tiger Bridge can be used to manage project and data workflows.
Tiger Spaces is installed on a Windows server and set up and managed through a web GUI. Setup is performed by an administrator who has access to the Spaces settings. On the Storage tab, you can configure the storage resources you want to allocate to Spaces. Spaces can manage any number of NAS or SAN storage that's presented through the Tiger Store application. Adding users to Spaces can be done via Active Directory, or administrators can create users and groups through the Add User tab. Simply add a name, a password, the status of the user, whether he will be an admin or a user. Add the user to any groups they may belong to. In this case, user John is being added to the editors group. Select Save and you're done. Next, we need to create a project workspace from the Add Workspace tab. Simply enter a name for the workspace, add a description, then select which of the three types of workspace you require: single user write, AVID bin locking, or multi-user write. For Windows clients, you can select a preferred drive letter where the workspace will appear. Select the storage you want to allocate to the workspace and add a quota if you wish to limit the size of the workspace on the storage. You can create a workspace from a template if you need to create multiple similar workspaces. Once submitted, the new workspace is added to the list of previously created workspace. The administrator now needs to add users or groups to the workspace. Use the Spaces search engine to find the newly created workspace and select the Share option to allocate users or groups. In this workspace example, we will select editors who will have write access to the workspace, and VFX who will have read-only access. No other users or groups will even see this workspace. Spaces is now configured, and we can see how this is presented to a user. Our new user John, who is part of the editors group, logs in to Spaces on his workstation. Spaces supports Windows or Mac clients. He sees the newly created workspace and a list of other workspaces assigned to the editors group. John can mount the workspace for write or read only. Once selected, the workspace mounts as a local disk device and John can begin working. At the same time, Mary, who is also an editor, can see that John has opened the workspace, and because the project is single user write, she can mount it read only. The workspace rules prevent any accidental deletion of content in the workspace. Only when John releases the workspace can Mary mount it with write access and continue to work on the project. The Tiger Spaces GUI can be accessed through any browser, allowing users and admins to see any of the workspaces and content regardless of location. They can preview proxies of media files and review information about the original file. The Spaces dashboard provides administrators with key metrics on the system, such as number of workspaces and users, workspaces currently in use and who's using them, storage utilization on the system, and with the integrated Tiger Bridge application, it provides analytics on data replicated, nearlined, and archived by Tiger Bridge. Tiger Bridge adds data lifecycle management to spaces. Here, Tiger Bridge is configured to tier data from all workspaces to a separate NAS target. HSM policies can be used to automatically replicate the data to the target based on last modified time frame, reclaim space on the primary storage based on last access date of files or disk utilization, and if the target of choice has an archive tier, admins can specify an archive policy based on age of data. Tiger Bridge data management is transparent to users and applications. Bridge is fully integrated within the Spaces application. This allows administrators to override Bridge HSM policies and to manually replicate workspaces, reclaim space on the shared disk, or move a project to an archive tier, and when needed, retrieve data back to their production storage. Tiger Spaces and Tiger Bridge are a complete project and data management solution for media workflows.
Okay, thank you very much.
Perfect.
So just a quick summary from me then, Nick. So, we want to stress really that Tiger technology products are designed for shared workflow environments. They're multi-client, so Windows, Linux, and Macs. And Tiger Store is designed to be non-proprietary and high performance and allows for capacity management and dynamic growth. If you use Tiger Spaces, you can build virtual workspace and containers for project management, utilizing your preferred storage. And Tiger Bridge, as we've seen, adds the data lifecycle management. So Bridge can automate data protection. It can also allow you to do geo-collaboration and provides an archive function. So using Bridge automated policies ensure data always lives on the most cost-effective tier for the life cycle of the data. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Paul. It was really interesting. So hopefully for those of you, it's given a really intuitive and informative idea of how the Infortrend CS series can be used in conjunction with ATTO and also Tiger to provide a much more in-depth solution, much more feature-rich than kind of any of the kind of one components, obviously, by themselves. So we're going to go over. Let me just check. I think we've had a couple of questions in. Looks like there've been a couple of questions on the from ATTO and for Tiger. So a quick look. So over to ATTO, I think first, your fingers on buzzers, guys. So got a few people asking us about the tuning presets and what's available and how do they work.
Okay, so right now there is the ones that I showed you. There's high throughput, low latency. There's multi-stream throughput if you're looking to send data over multiple queues. And what happens when you select any of those right now in the going on in the background? We built this service that makes syscontrol changes. It makes ETTO commands. It makes sure we have our proprietary offloads turned on or off that are built into the driver. So that's all going on in the background, and we make sure that it's persistent. So the next time you turn your machine on, it's still there. All those changes are still there. And so each operating system is different. So if you use our Linux version, you'll see a couple more profiles, and the changes are all different depending on the operating system. So we also have plans to roll out some more storage-specific ones. So in June, you'll see ones that'll have profiles dedicated to SMB or NFS shares. We plan on doing some application-specific ones in the future. And the plan is just to keep rolling out more and more profiles and build out a library. We plan to work with partners to pick custom profiles, so for their specific storage. You might see a button in the future for any number of our partners. So that's all going to be just going to keep rolling out.
So one day there might be an Infortrend CS sort of click to configure kind of thing potentially.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I've got one here for you, Paul. Someone asking about driver support on Tiger in regards to the current Catalina OS.
Yes, indeed. All of our latest software releases supports Catalina.
Okay, perfect. And then I'll fill the Infortrend one. Someone is asking about how the DaVinci server, project server, installs on the cluster, and that's without going into too much detail. I'm not aware of. That's via the Docker app, so it's a Docker feature to connect in that. So presumably there would be no other reason why maybe other apps couldn't be added at a later date, but DaVinci Project Serve is the current one from there. So so that handles that. So I know we're running short on time, but maybe we'll just do a couple more quick ones. 50 gig Ethernet on Thunderlinks, is someone asked. I know you've got 40 gig. Is there a 50 gig?
Yeah, I can take this. So at this point, there's no plans for 50 gig right now, but there's a good reason for that. I know people see 25, 50, 100 and would say, okay, you have 25 gig, you have 40 gig, why not 50 gig? And it really has to do with the Thunderbolt pipeline. So if we look at Thunderbolt 3, it's 40 gig, but really translates to 22 gig. And so right now, the fact that we have 25 gig, it matches up really nicely with that Thunderbolt pipeline. So for us, it's about keeping those numbers similar and that pipe similar, because it's actually going to provide better performance than potentially if we had a higher protocol speed like 50 gig. So right now, we think we've got the best solution out there to fit that 25, 50, 100 infrastructure, even though it's only 25 gig.
Okay. Perfect. And then just do one more for Tiger. Do you guys recommend any MAM, or do you have MAM functions? I don't think you touched on MAM while you were.
We didn't, and it's a good question. We do indeed have a Tiger MAM capability. It's an integration with a third-party company called IMC. It is 100% integrated into Tiger Spaces. So it does bring pretty much full MAM capability alongside the project management side of Tiger Spaces. Yep.
Okay, perfect. I think I'm conscious we don't want to drag on too much longer, so I think I'll just, if we go round to wrap up, just to say thank you very much to Megan and Tom. They can both be reached at ATTO, so attotech.com for any more information from them. Kelly, who unfortunately couldn't be with us from Infortrend today, she can be reached at kellylocke@infortrend.com, or obviously any further information from Infortrend can be got from infortrend.com. And obviously, thank you to Paul Reeve from Tiger, paul.reeve@tigertechnologies.com, and of course, any other information from tiger-technology.com. From my side, I'm Nick. Thank you very much for watching. I'm a director here at Global. My contact information is here. My counterpart across the pond in the US is Jonathan Elihu. He can be reached at jonathane@globaldistribution.com. And of course, all our contact details are readily available from our website. So thank you very much for attending this around the kitchen table talk. This is obviously on our Bright Talk. We'll be going on our Bright Talk channel along with all our other content. We have further webinars coming up next week, I believe, and then all through the month of June as well on various topics, which myself and some of the other members of the team will be hosting. But for now, just to say quickly, I'll pop back to the team just for everyone to say their goodbyes. Hopefully everyone enjoyed it, and we'll catch you all soon again. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.